Hey, yo, what's good, what's good, what's good? Welcome to Reflections of a DJ, the R.O.A.D podcast presented by DJ City and Beat Source. I'm one of your hosts, DJ Crooked. We got Brooklyn's beloved, DJ Goldfinger.
What up, world?
What's good? Rest in peace, DJ Never, our brother, Never Forever. We are here in New York at the Sound Collective. We have two legends from LA, and they I don't know how they're here in New York. I'm going to find out why they're here in New York, but they are launching their new club, Yacht Rock Radio on SiriusXM this weekend, Memorial Day weekend. I'm very honored to have my brothers here, Stone Rock and Grand Funky, the captains of industry.
Hi.
Yeah.
What's good, fellas?
Hi.
Excited
To be here.
What
Thanks
the fuck y'all doing here in New York? I would never think I would have you on a podcast in New York here.
I mean, I don't know how to answer this question.
Oh, yeah?
I've been here before.
We're on the promotion tour for the radio show.
For the Yacht Rock.
For the Yacht Rock radio
So congratulations. So this is Club Yacht Rock on SiriusXM.
Yes, it's the Club Yacht Rock show on Yacht Rock Radio on SiriusXM.
What happens on Club Yacht Rock, Graham?
They play Yacht Rock.
No, but specifically Club Yacht Rock. What happens on Club Yacht Rock?
Club Yacht Rock is it's almost like an experiment, but what we wanted to do was apply DJ fundamentals to Yacht Rock, right? So mixtape approach, but using Yacht Rock. So on the Yacht Rock channel on SiriusXM, which airs during the summertime, it's 24/7 Yacht Rock hits.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, based on like how other channels on Sirius, like be it Shade 45, Globalization, Diplo, like these that have mixed shows, we want to do the same thing, but with Yacht Rock. So that's what this is. This is season 2. We did it last summer too.
Really?
Yeah.
So this is fully dedicated to Yacht Rock.
Yeah, we sprinkle in, we make it ours. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's DJ stuff, you know what I mean? So it's not, we strip the songs down, we rebuild them, we add a little flourish, we make some hip hop, what would you call, like?
Hat tips?
Yeah, we make it ours. We make it a DJ thing.
Yeah. I've known y'all for like 20 plus years. So you guys have always had a theme of like, Yacht Rock captains, on boats. You've done like marquee day pool parties, like fully decked out as like, captains and with captains' hats and everything.
I mean, I think you'd agree that everybody loves semen.
Yeah.
Clip it. Socials.
I thought I was on the pause podcast, but he didn't even come with the pause.
I was just so shocked. I was in shock.
You can clip it. You can ask us again.
No. But like, you guys have always had a theme of like Yacht Rock, and the captains and sailors and everything like that. Ever since like your residency in the Palms Hotel,
yeah,
to Marquee Day Club,
yeah.
And so, how long have you been working on this, like Yacht Rock Radio for?
It wasn't an intentional theme thing. Like even the name, the Captains of Industry, was bred from us hosting a dinner party at our friend's restaurant, and in a private room. And the room, it would be like us and writers and musicians and directors and executives or whatever. And we used to call it the Koi Pond, the Captains of Industry Pond.
Yeah,
and
COI.
COI. And then when we linked up officially on our own, we're like, let's just be the Captains of Industry. Now, we also happen to like sailing and piracy and all things of the sea, so it kind of just naturally worked well together. But we were never actively chasing the dream of like, we just want to wear captain's hats and boat shoes and do all that kind of stuff. In fact, most of the work that we did was not that. It was just open format as it was for everyone.
Playing bottle clubs all these years.
Yeah.
But like Marquee Day Club, we opened Marquee Day Club, and that was a theme.
Well, they asked us what we wanted to do on Sundays. They were giving us Sundays when they were opening, and we sent them this deck.
What year was this again? It was like
2008?
Whenever they opened. No, later than that.
I think it was
2011. I don't remember exactly when it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's back then. But we sent them, they're like, come up with a concept for your Sunday residency. So we knew we wanted to do regatta chic Sundays, which is what it became, but we also stacked the deck with some other crazy stuff, like instead of the go-go dancers, we wanted like female bodybuilders posing down. up on the boxes.
Oh, shit.
They didn't go for it. And then maybe another one was like a more static nautical approach, like the Love Boat or something, right?
Yeah.
And we even had pitched them, like we found them a boat that we wanted to like crane into the pool that you could sell as we had like mad concepts for them. We ended up going with Regatta Chic Sundays. We did some cool advertising with them, like, you know, we got to do some dope photo shoots and stuff. But we were on that. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it wasn't Yacht Rock. I mean, we were playing whatever
I was
Marquee
playing,
Day Club
you know,
needed.
Calvin Harris records.
But the theme was Regatta Chic.
Right. But how did this get pitched to XM? How did this go on XM's radar? You know what
It's
I
a
mean?
long story.
Yeah.
But maybe that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
What's good, everyone? This is Neek from Reflections of a DJ, the R.O.A.D podcast. Whether you're just discovering the R.O.A.D podcast or a day one listener, if you've been loving the content or want more, here's your chance to support the pod. Get closer to the action and unlock exclusive content by joining our Patreon. This is for loyal listeners who want early access to new episodes 3 or 4 weeks ahead, your name in the credits of every video episode, and access to our exclusive R.O.A.D edit packs. Now, for the hardcore supporters, we've got our Tier 2 Roadie for Life subscription for just $10 a month. This is an all-in package. You'll get everything from Tier 1 plus a monthly bonus episode, early access to our R.O.A.D 10 and R.O.A.D Talk interviews, behind-the-scenes content, our In the Crate series, along with exclusive unreleased content. This is your chance to support the podcast and get more of what you love. Join the family today at patreon.com/R.O.A.D podcast. Check the link in our descriptions. We appreciate you. Let's keep this journey going.
Like I said before, you know, most of these channels have mix shows, right? You know, Rock the Bells, there's mix shows. So we had wanted to, like I said, do one with Yacht Rock. We just didn't know how to do it. Like, who do you talk to? How do you get to the Yacht Rock radio person? The funny thing is, so every single time, like, we would come across someone that might know, or like management, new rep or whatever, like, we want to do a show on Yacht Rock Radio. We never got anywhere. But one day at the Highlight Room, like a daytime thing, and I see DJ Godfather, and he's
From
got
Detroit?
Yes.
Yeah. Amazing DJ.
Yeah. Legend.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the dude. But he had with him that guy Rude Jude,
Yeah.
who I knew from the Jenny Jones show, and I had met like 25 years ago when he had come to LA. But he was on Shade 45.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, let me ask you this question. How can we get a show on Sirius, a Yacht Rock show? And he was like, what he pitched to us was like, let's do like a proof of concept for Shade 45, which is what we did. We came in for their Memorial Day. This is some years ago. Like a 30-minute Yacht Rock mix, which we called the Audio by Nature. We went into Sirius. We did an interview about it and stuff. We thought that might move the ball forward, but it went nowhere. So then more years passed. So we've been trying to do this a long time. I don't know how many summers ago this was. Maybe it's got to be 2 summers ago now, right?
Yeah, because we did it we started last year,
so
24,
2 summers ago,
so 23, summer
at Bungalow
23.
in Santa Monica, Anderson .Paak was doing DJ Pee Wee performance, right? And I bump into Phenom from Beat Source DJ City.
Right. Yeah, shout out to Phenom.
No doubt. He was telling me about, he's PD at Globalization. So I asked him the same question I've asked so many people. Who do we talk to at Sirius? Who runs Yacht Rock channel? Who can we talk to? He was the first person who was like, let me just find out. And he went and found, like within a week, found not only the person who runs the channel, but the person who founded the channel. And I don't want to put their name out there because last summer we were just inundated with people like, how do I get my mix on Club Yacht Rock? And I'm like, we spent many years getting to this point. No one gets a leapfrog, right? Right. Yeah, Phenom kind of shepherded that through to finally getting the show on air. Yacht Rock Radio, they're playing Yacht Rock songs 24 hours a day. So to insert a mix show is kind of like interrupting the regular flow of the channel, right? It's an experiment. They went with it, and it was successful last summer. So for this summer, they're like, let's do it again. And that's exactly what we're doing, 15 weeks lined up for summertime. We got some guest DJs coming in. It's going to be fun.
That's just up.
Wow. What times are the mix shows going on?
They air every weekend of the summer, so there's 15 weekends in the summer,
and
right?
And the times might just alternate, right?
Yeah, but they're going to usually run twice a day during that weekend. People are outside during the summertime.
Crazy.
Yeah. They're outside in the backyard, or they're on their boat or whatever, and this is the musical vibe they want. So it'll run Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, and then for the first part of the week.
Who would like the guest DJs that y'all have? Like, what's the lineup right now?
Well, Stone, do you want to list who we have lined up to do the episodes of Club Yacht Rock?
These are the people coming in to do mixes. Us, Z-Trip.
Wow.
Jazzy Jeff.
Wow.
Mark Ronson.
Wow.
Fashion.
Crazy.
Conflict.
Nice.
Excel and Sonny James are doing it together.
Oh, dope.
Angie V. Mona Lisa.
Nice.
Steve Shimmer. From last season.
Yeah, he held it down last season. R.O.A.D from Vegas. Riz.
That's a great fucking lineup.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's going to be fun. You know, and Excel and Sonny James are going to do all vinyl, and they're going to film it, and it will be up on their YouTube channel. So the people listening to Club Yacht Rock on Sirius will prompt them like, hey, if you want to see what this looks like live, here it is.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
now, what's the affection of your guys doing Yacht Rock? Like, what made this a thing for you guys?
I think everybody loves Yacht Rock. You know what I'm saying?
I really, it was just something that hadn't been done. Like a mix show on the Yacht Rock channel is pretty outrageous as a concept, which is why we picked the DJs we picked, because truth be told, not everyone could pull it off. I mean, people could mix records together, but that's not what we're doing.
Right.
That's not all we're doing. So it was just something different. The music has been branded Yacht Rock, but really it like runs the gamut of genres. Like the music that fills the Yacht Rock bucket isn't just Yacht Rock. It's like soft rock and some classic rock, and there's some jazz and there's some this and there's some that. So it's a lot of different styles of music that we get to play.
Yeah.
So it's just a fun way to play something else, because like another hip hop mix, another EDM mix, another whatever mix, like, so it was just something different. It was interesting. Obviously it fits under the Captains of Industry umbrella, even though that wasn't a direct theme of ours, the Yacht Rock thing. Yeah, it was just an interesting concept that we just always wanted to execute.
Yacht Rock's having a moment right now.
Right.
Yacht Rock is having a moment right now.
HBO documentary and stuff of that nature.
Yeah.
What would you consider, or what's the elements of Yacht Rock for people that wouldn't know?
Yeah.
It's funny you mention that, because I think it's an ongoing debate, and I don't even think like, even if you go back to like the YouTube series or the Yacht Rock series from like the early 2000s, you know, there's tons of online chatter. They call it yacht or nyat, right? So like what songs actually fall in the category. So a lot of music, if you take someone like Jackson Browne as an example, you would say that like, well, these songs by him are like yacht rock, but he's not a yacht rock artist because it's not expressly that, right?
Right.
And there's a few artists that, I mean, even Toto, like there's a lot of Toto songs that fall into that yacht rock bucket, but there's a lot of hard rock from them too, you know what I'm saying? So
what's the essential Yacht Rock?
Again, you know, I don't want to come off like we're the experts here, because it's ongoing debate and everybody's going to have an opinion, because this is not a genre that was intrinsic at the time. This is a term that was applied to a style of music much later than the songs were produced, right?
Why don't you give us like a loose definition or of where the parameters of what fits into like a Yacht Rock mix? And I only say this because, as like, you know, when you're pulling together a crazy DJ lineup like that, you know, like what are the specific parameters, if there are any or if there aren't any?
I've always defined it for us as music that you would listen to when you're sailing on a boat. And it's not necessarily exclusive to the Yacht Rock list that everyone has built, right? Like Sade Smooth Operator, which we put on a mix last year, to me is a song I'd listen to on a sailboat. But there's not any Yacht Rock aficionado who would add that to any list, which is crazy. So for us, that's kind of the bowling bumpers, right? Like as long as it fits in this thing where we can listen to it on a sailboat, we're good.
Yeah. Who's the, like, all right, if I had to ask you, who is the face of Yacht Rock, who would it be?
Michael McDonald.
Michael McDonald?
Yeah, I mean, he's the, like, what
not,
a fool.
Not Christopher Cross?
Well, him too, but I mean, Michael McDonald's on the big Christopher Cross song, right? But I think What a Fool Believes always tops the list, and in fact, like, that probably gets played more than anything else on Yacht Rock Radio, right? That would be the song. I mean, again, Mike McDonald, I keep forgetting goes in there. But yeah, Christopher Cross, of course, Ride Like the Wind and Sailing. These are ones that everybody knows. And
I feel like Sailing is the anthem, right?
Yeah. So, but here's the funny thing about Sailing: it wouldn't show up on a mix a lot because it's like a mellow groove, right?
And it's like 75 BPM.
Yeah. If you watch the documentary that you mentioned on HBO, when they talk to Questlove, he says yacht rock is the best sitting down dancing music. Meaning, like, you know, it's a bop, but like everybody's sitting down. You know, it's not like disco, though there are some disco elements to it. You know.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard the term blue-eyed soul?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So how do you kind of coalesce those terms? Like coalesce with blue-eyed soul.
It's funny. It's funny because like I'll go through like Goldfinger's crates. You know, pause, and then like he'll have a folder.
Wait, hold on. Why do you pause that?
I don't know.
What?
It just
go through his crates a little.
Go through his crate.
All right. Okay.
A little invasive.
Okay.
Just a little invasive.
I'll fiddle through Goldfinger's crates. And you know, like I'll stumble onto a crate and it'll be like Blue-Eyed Soul, and I look and I'd be like, yo, that shit is crazy. I've never heard that term before. You know.
When you mention the term, the first band that comes to mind is Hall & Oates,
Right.
Which a lot of their songs ends up on the Yacht Rock radio and in our mixes because it kind of they got a foot in each one of those.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I think a lot of Blue-Eyed Soul ends up kind of, again, it's not like in 1978 no one's like, I'm a yacht rock artist and I'm making yacht rock music. It's a term applied to something in the past. So it's up for debate which Blue-Eyed Soul would end up on a yacht rock mix or any genre really, like whether it be jazz or like, you know, Bill Withers' Lovely Day. It's a yacht rock song, but it's also Bill Withers, right?
Right.
So that's why it's all a debate. It's everybody can have an opinion on if it's yacht or nyat.
Right.
You know?
So, but like Blue-Eyed Soul gives the impression that it's like the parameters is like mostly white people, like white artists involved, right?
As a certain aesthetic, like a Kenny Loggins record, but not all of Kenny Loggins records. Just This Is It, or you know, the ones that have a little bit.
This Is It ends up on those mixes and on the Yacht Rock radio all the time because it's right in that pocket.
So if you guys had to do the top 5 yacht rock songs of all time, I want to hear your top 5.
Well, I have number 1.
Well, first,
let's do 5 to 1.
Okay, I have number 1.
Yeah, you can do number 1, but what I'm going to say first is just because they're like the top 5 doesn't mean that would be my favorite ones.
Right.
Yeah.
In fact, when we were at Marquee, when we talked about whenever it opened, right? Someone from New York, one of those free magazines from the subway, had contacted us to do a sidebar to an article about Hall & Oates performing. And we did like...
Oh my God, I forgot about this.
I did not.
Yeah.
I said, I don't want to do the top 5 yacht rock songs. That's not that interesting. How about the top 5 like yacht rock adjacent, like maybe that you are not aware of?
Let's do both. Let's do both.
Okay. Yeah, and I stole that from, if you remember, the Beastie Boys had a magazine called Grand Royal.
Yeah.
Of course.
And in the first issue, they had this article called The Top 10 Records That Aren't So Deep That We Can't Let You Know What They Are, right?
Oh, wow.
So using that as inspiration, I'm like, all right, we're going to do these 5 yacht rock songs that aren't What a Fool Believes and This Is It, like, that are going to be a little more obscure.
Why don't we do like the top 5 staples?
Yeah, the staples, sure.
And then you give me your top 5 adjacent.
In no particular order, Africa by Toto,
Staple.
What a Fool Believes by the Doobie Bros,
Nice.
Ride Like the Wind.
Ride Like the Wind by Christopher Cross.
I mean,
This Is It by Kenny Loggins.
Steely Dan, take your pick.
Yeah, take your pick.
Peg for sure. That's 5.
FM is more yacht rock to me.
Okay, Steely Dan FM.
So then what would be the adjacent?
So when we were doing Club Yacht Rock, we like to work in the, curveballs, which would be adjacent records. So like Barbados by Poco. It's great. Poco has Messina, and Messina links up with Kenny Loggins. So I mean, it's, give me some good adjacents.
Oh. We put Mysterious Ways on there. Mysterious Vibes.
Yeah, sure. The
Blackbirds. Lionel Richie, Running with the Night, probably isn't on anyone's list.
Yeah.
That's on there.
That's interesting.
There's a couple of Ambrosia, left field Ambrosia
We did Bob
songs.
James, Westchester Lady.
Yeah, Westchester Lady's on last season.
Wow.
Yeah, just anything that you listen to while you're sailing on my boat.
And what are y'all personal favorites of all time?
I mean, I gotta be honest. Like a lot of those Toto songs are great. Hold the Line's great. Rosanna's great. Georgie Porgy's great. Africa. I like that one too.
For sure.
My favorite is the one that makes the mix work. So whatever the next song is that works, that's my favorite. Because that means we're one song closer to the end of the mix.
The crazy thing about Toto, and they get into this in the Yacht Rock documentary, those guys are studio guys. Those guys are playing all over Michael Jackson records and like
Nature and all
working for
like
Quincy
would
Jones.
Would you consider that Yacht Rock?
I would, even though it's a Michael Jackson song, but it's written by Porcaro, yeah.
I mean, we put Liberian Girl on a mix. We put Baby Be Mine on a mix.
Yeah, because it's again, it comes back to that argument. Like, is it yacht or yacht? And if it has that feeling to it, if it's got that vibe, it's got that essence to it, then we work it in.
So aesthetically, like, is the instruments is what makes it yacht rock? What is?
It has that sheen. It's slick, right?
Feeling is kind of like what is Spandau Ballet? Just say True. Is that a yacht rock record?
I would not consider it that.
Why not?
It's a great question because I guess aesthetically. In terms of, I guess the presentation of it.
It sounds luxurious.
It sure does.
But maybe it's a little bit. It's not live instrumentation, so it doesn't have that.
He's running the guitars at the top.
Yeah, but is he really like? Is it synths? Like I don't know how they produced that record.
Again, this comes down to that argument: is it yacht or yacht?
Running with the Night. It's got Sims in it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I just really like that song, and we put it on a mix.
Well, Goldie, what are your favorites that they didn't mention?
Those are really good. I would say Peg. I was Steely Dan.
Yeah.
So many Steely FM, Peg, Josie, Ricky Don't Lose That Number, Haitian Divorce. I mean, there's just so many.
I would say George Benson.
George Benson 100%. For sure.
Yeah.
I would say Hamilton Reynolds, The Falling in Love, Baby, Falling in Love.
Yes, again, it comes down to this. Comes down to this.
I mean, maybe we got to get you to do a mix.
Oh, I know my shit.
I clearly, I'm not asking you because I think you don't know your shit.
Yes, it's a couple of records that I think the Sade was really good. I'd never thought of that one.
Yeah,
that was really good.
That's just like
really fucking good.
Like duh.
Yeah,
Smooth Operator, like fucking duh. But you're gonna the diehards are gonna be like, no, it's not the right year window and the production. It's like,
but it's kind of like
that's sailboat jams.
It's also like because the percussions are not too strong; they're like light enough to make it kind of floaty.
The conga running. But a lot of the online chatters, people say Fleetwood Mac's not yacht rock, right? But
that definitely sounds like.
We agree, and we run a lot of Fleetwood Mac songs in the mixes.
Yeah, you definitely got to put what's that? The one with the cranberry juice.
Dreams.
Dreams and everywhere. To me, it's got the elements. And going back to Spandau Ballet, I think it comes down to how the elements come off, right? I agree with you. That's a smooth song. But aesthetically, I don't know if it's maybe not. It's maybe not. I don't know what the term would be. Maybe not granola enough. When I think of the guy from Spandau Ballet, he's all like, he's prim and proper.
It's a little slick. But I would still think that because it's yacht. You're not going to find not too many fancy things on a yacht.
Yeah, it's true.
You haven't been on our boat yet.
Yeah, where's Robin Leach when we need him?
Are there any like controversial artists or songs that people mistake for yacht rock that are like kind of like, yo, this is not yacht rock?
I mean,
people misunderstand.
We're not diehard like that.
Yeah. But I mean, like the public.
We're pretty open. I think that there are definitely people that are very passionate about this thing.
Really? Yeah.
Very passionate. Like if you go on the Yacht Rock Facebook groups, I mean, they're arguing all day long. Or people are like, please don't roast me. Is this Yacht Rock or not? And then like you'll get half the people that are like, yeah, I mean, I guess. And then the other half are like, are you out of your mind? Like, da-da-da-da. So...
Yeah, we're not here to be the arbiter of that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I don't think it's fair to rule anyone out if they have the characteristics of the song.
Now tell me this. In the documentary, there were really strong feelings from some of the artists that they don't want to be kind of involved with the yacht rock thing.
Yeah.
They don't know what it is. Yeah. They don't care to know what it is. They don't want to be involved. do you still kind of play their music? Of course, but I'm just saying, how do you feel that the fact that they don't want to be associated with it and you're associated with it?
It's ridiculous because someone is voluntarily putting you in a new genre of music that might open up new revenue streams or opportunities or whatever, and because you're really staunch about what music you're making, Steely Dan, you're gonna just rule it out like completely. Like, who cares? I mean, I get it, right? Like if you're making rock music and someone says, "Oh, that's a great pop song. Like, you're a great pop band." Like, what are you talking about? I'm making rock music. Like, I get it, but like also just embrace it. And a lot of these guys are probably not really working that much. I don't know. I just feel like embrace it and run with it and enjoy it.
Gotcha.
You're 60, 70, 80 years old. Like, how are you still angry about anything? Like, you already did it.
Who's launching the first weekend, Memorial Day weekend, this weekend?
The Captains of Industry.
Nice.
Yeah, we do 3 mixes. We'll do Memorial Day, we'll do Labor Day, we'll do
4th of July.
The big weekend.
Well, it's our show, right?
It is our show.
Last year we did the same thing. We did, Memorial Day.
And the fact that they're doing it live, you don't know what they're going to play.
Yeah, it's, again, like we're talking about the debate. We don't foist any opinion on the DJs. Like, what's your interpretation? So Riz, for instance, Live from Brooklyn is one of the illest mixes of all time.
Yeah.
So we just said we want that, but with yacht rock.
Sheesh.
And I'll say this, with a lot of these guys, the conversation was more like, this is something they've been wanting to do, right?
Crazy.
They were like, we've always wanted an opportunity to try and like flex that muscle.
Right.
And imagine what they're going to come out with. If you got Jazzy Jeff, he's going to see certain records that I consider yacht rock, and what he brings to it might be a different spin.
Yeah, we were pretty adamant. While we did give them the station's playlists,
right?
We were pretty adamant about, like, you don't need to adhere to this. Understand that there's a built-in audience and they're expecting to hear XYZ, but also this is something else. So if you want to put your little spin on it, or a song that maybe isn't on the list, like, please do your thing. Like,
color outside the lines.
Like Z-Trip, give me a Z-Trip mix. Riz, give me a Riz mix
with yacht rock.
Yeah, with doing yacht rock.
How different is this lineup from like last year?
Very different.
Really?
Yeah.
Because the last year was the premiere year, so was it a little more safe? Were there, like,
Do you want to tell the whole story?
It's a long story, and I don't really want to get into it. But let's just say this.
Hey, what's good? This is the R.O.A.D podcast, Reflections of a DJ. We're here in New York City, and we have invaded the Sound Collective. Now, I want to explain what the Sound Collective is. I got my man Lefty from the Sound Collective here. Lefty, thank you for having us and hosting this beautiful studio for us. Exactly what is the Sound Collective here in New York?
Modern, state-of-the-art facility with tons of production gear. And one side of it is you can be a member and you can come here and pay monthly to use the rooms and the gear and sign out time and our space. We have a state-of-the-art studio. We have all these production stations, DJ stations, instrument practicing rooms and such like that.
And you also teach. You have classes and sessions, right?
We have intensive programs, short-term programs that people can come and take Saturday classes on DJing, production.
There's kind of a community building within where there's DJs, producers, musicians.
Up and coming producers, people honing their craft and learning, and DJs and all these things. And they come here and practice, and we have all the new gear, so they come and check that out and get familiar. And a lot of DJs will come in from out of town, be like, let me get a day pass so I can just get a refresh on the 3000s and the V10.
And what's great is that a lot of our guests, everyone from Clark Kent to the technician to Camilo, they come in here and they're just like, holy shit.
You want to play with all the gear, man? Yeah.
I didn't even realize this, but you guys have studio spaces where people can do live streams and they can do their Twitch streams.
Yep. We got a whole green screen set up already, multicam, full on switcher. We also do a lot of events here. We're bringing a lot of outside talent, organizations. We got a big event coming up with DJ City, Beat Source, and Serato.
That's part of our family.
Yeah. We did a big one last year with them. We got another one coming up.
For our listeners, is there any way we could hook them up with a deal, or if they put in a R.O.A.D podcast code?
Yeah, tell me about it. What else do you have in vision for this deal? It sounds like we're well on our way. Why don't you tell them?
You're working with us where they can type in a code for R.O.A.D,
Yep.
And they'll get a month free, right?
Yeah, on our online platform. We have a whole online platform with like masterclass style education.
Nice.
Different categories and everything, instruments, drums. And then we have these things that we're launching right now called Pro Paths. So you can choose, like if you're a producer, you can take the Ableton Pro Path, the Logic Pro Path, Serato Studio. Goes through a wide variety of knowledge besides just stuff in that skill set and discipline.
So our road listeners, if you're in New York, you can check out their facility. You can do a day pass, a week pass, a monthly pass. You can check out their site. You have access to all the education online.
Soundcollective.com. We also have a YouTube channel that has some of our content from the educational courses, and all of our events are live streamed and put up there.
I hope we can come back here and use your facilities again.
Looking forward to it.
Shout to Lefty and the Sound Collective. Thank you so much.
It was an unproven concept at that time.
Right.
So it makes no sense for anybody to extend to us any trust, right? Or the amount of trust required. The amount of trust that we have this season, right?
Yeah. Well, this seems like so like this is like almost like this is the most top tier list of DJs.
I would think so. The thing that gets me is that it's not a very big genre or even a subgenre. So how do you make it fresh from DJ to DJ to DJ with a limited amount of songs?
Well, the songs are not limited.
This is what I'm saying. That's what's making it sound like it's going to be a good time.
We specifically picked the DJs we picked because we knew that they have the ability to not just deliver the top 25 Yacht Rock songs, right? Like we were very deliberate about who we chose.
Gotcha.
So and now you're going to do one. So.
Dope.
Can we pause? Can we fit in an impromptu Yacht Rock set from Goldie? Somewhere in the mix. You're like, maybe not, maybe so.
If you want to do one, if you want to come in and do one,
that's dope.
More than happy to have you do one.
But these are mixed live.
Yeah.
Wow. So
they'll come in studio.
I would think ideally, like especially for like Riz and Z Trip, I would have loved to hear like a multi-track mix.
Well, with Serato, they can make their edits and they can do what they got to do.
So are these mixes going to be available online, like on a Mixcloud?
So on the Sirius app, you can listen to them whenever you want, once they air.
Nice.
So they're on demand.
Crazy.
We also host them because, we like to control our output. So like our mixes from last year are on our Mixcloud.
Yeah.
And you can check those out.
Mixcloud.com / the caps.
Yeah, THECAPTS.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, you can listen to last year's episodes. And, honestly, like we sent those episodes to all the DJs too. Like, here's what we did. Use that as the anchor for, what needs to happen,
That's
right?
dope. Yeah.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. No nautical pun intended.
I got a question, like, is it possible for you guys to put together like a folder of like maybe 8 to 12 like an edit pack of certain Yacht Rock songs that
with drums?
I don't know, whatever edit packs, just like
that's a good question.
Shit, you know what I mean?
That's a good question because
for the Patreon.
Yeah, for our Patreon or for whatever, just to market. It doesn't even have to be that many. You could give us like a handful of songs that maybe y'all did, or maybe
I think we can release some edits.
Yeah, we can do some of the edits.
That we made.
Yeah.
But I know what you're going to ask, but so ask.
Okay. For the station stuff, do you actually have to be faithful to the original versions?
We are stripping those songs down and rebuilding them to make them pop.
Well, hold on. You're asking, can you play like a up-tempo remix with drums or something like that?
No, I'm just asking how far can you go from the original?
I mean,
because they have the station.
Yeah, so
and
we
they play those records.
try to, and this is the advice that we give. We try to stay as close to the original as possible. Just because
was that what they advised?
No one gave us any direction.
Okay.
We just know that the audience is built in, and they're expecting a very specific thing. And if we get too far away from it, then they'll be turned off. Now, we didn't go that far off the main road, and we still got criticism because
you're ruining the song.
Yeah, there's always going to be a fucking hater.
Yeah.
But So
Well,
like,
was it the Little John Snap Your Fingers over one of?
Well, okay, so we don't we avoid that kind of stuff, making it like putting those kind of
That's
drums under it.
fucking hilarious.
What we do is
What do you mean that kind of stuff? That's awesome stuff, guys.
Oh, no, hey.
no, I'm just,
what do you mean, you people?
you people.
Did I say you people?
No.
No, what I'm saying is we don't take those elements that you would typically associate with like club music, whether it be hip hop or EDM or whatever. So there's no 4 on the floor underneath this stuff, or there's no, to your point, no trap beat under these yacht rock songs. We're just stripping the original down, and rebuilding it with the parts we want to make the mixes.
Right, give it a little oomph.
Any sample example type of situations when you're doing this? The yacht rock?
Sample example meaning like
just say if I play Keep Forgetting Michael McDonald.
Yes.
Or Regulate is going to come in?
Yeah, that's what I was...
We give them a little taste.
So a little taste of Regulate.
Regulators!
A flourish.
Gotcha.
Just to so as an example, we ran Wind Parade by Donald Byrd. So we got...
the Black Moon.
We got Black Moon running under that real quick, not enough to like distract anybody.
Just for the heads to be like,
That's just an example.
So it's like a nod.
Or like during Peg, we got pause in there saying,
I know.
Yeah, tell him what to do, Mace,
We did a little, I mean, despite everyone hating him, we did a little Kanye Kid Charlemagne thing when we did, just
a second,
just to let everyone know something else is happening.
Nice.
It's not just the
this
songs.
is all last season's stuff.
Gotcha.
This season,
Because when you say names like Z Trip, I imagine that there's going to be a complete
and we told
rework.
Z that make it Z Trip. You know what I mean?
And even Jeff, you're going to incorporate that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, let them take the.
Hopefully that's the case.
No restraints.
I'm really excited about hearing it.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah, man, it's fun.
It's great.
Yeah, I don't mind.
So this is like the first year where you kind of had the freedom to really kind of...
Again, going back to, I think there's no reason to trust us with an experiment. This is taking a channel that's successful already while it airs. And why would you interrupt that success, right? With this experiment of like implementing something totally new.
Especially in the holiday, right?
But they went with it, and we got it off.
It did well, obviously, right?
Because we're doing season 2. Because it's different. It's not too far removed from what people expect. And again, even the people who might say you're ruining the songs, it's just like 7 hours a week out of it's running. This Yacht Rock on that channel is running 24 hours a day. So 7 of those hours are like Club Yacht Rock. There's many, 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 many more hours where they're just doing their normal Yacht Rock programming, right?
Wow.
Any records that you guys discovered as part of this journey?
Yeah. So prepping for doing the show, we had to go down the rabbit hole. Not just obviously, we're familiar with a ton of the Yacht Rock, all the Yacht Rock and all Yacht Rock adjacent songs, but there's subgenres of that, like Easy Glide.
City pop.
Adult.
Oh, wow, city pop. Yeah. That's great. Yeah.
Album-oriented rock, right? So these are all songs that, kind of exist in that same realm, but aren't as well known. So we kind of pick and chose songs that we wanted to feature that aren't obvious, and but we discovered those by just researching and looking at going down the rabbit hole. If you think about hip hop for a second, right? How much hip hop is out there that you might have never heard, but in 50 years they discover these ones that didn't get any shine, right? The same thing back then. Imagine how many records got put out that just didn't get any traction, but you discover a dope song, a dope Yacht Rock adjacent song, just by because it's out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then sometimes records rediscovered or rediscovered. They may have been a hit in the 80s or 90s, and then it just becomes famous again because it was on a soundtrack.
Yeah,
or in a movie or something.
Or on TikTok with a dance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. So not only did you guys help to curate the mix shows, did you guys help to curate the playlist and everything for Yacht Rock or no?
Funny you ask.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of songs from last season's mixes that we introed to the world that they added to the set list, which is not. They're not songs that anyone should really be checking for.
Right.
And once they added them, I was like, I wonder.
You know, it's like Sao Paulo by Chic, Beijo by Earth, Wind, and Fire. These are songs that, to me, these sound like Yacht Rock songs, right? But it wouldn't come to mind immediately, like, you know, the tail end of that Earth, Wind, and Fire record when it goes into that Beijo, which, to your point, like, when we were started to put that on a mix, I don't even think Beijo's the name of that song.
Brazilian Rhyme?
I think it's Brazilian Rhyme, or it's Beijo. We were like...
It's Beijo on the album, but it's an interlude, but it's actually a Brazilian Rhyme.
Who knew?
Yeah, I don't know. I corrected it in my iTunes because I didn't want to get caught slipping.
I used to work in a record store.
Okay. So is it Beijo or is it Brazilian Rhyme?
It's Beijo on the album as an interlude. It's Brazilian Rhyme as a whole song.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah,
Talking to Mr. Beach Street Records. I love it. You know
I love
it.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a song that to me should end up on a Yacht Rock mix because it's in that pocket.
Definitely.
Right?
So when you linked up with SiriusXM, they were already in the process of launching a Yacht Rock, Club Yacht Rock like station?
No.
It's our idea.
So this station was like launched because of
it's been around
by
years.
the concept
the station has been around forever.
Oh, got it. Okay.
The idea of having a mix show on the station was our idea.
Interesting.
That we brought to them.
Yeah, and like I said, we for years trying to find who do we talk to try to like pitch this to
do
them.
A mix show.
Shout out to Phenom.
Yeah.
Shout out to Phenom for connecting those dots.
Phenom is actually, big shout to him because he is really like the go-to person for like every time I hit a wall or there's an obstacle, I always kind of call him and he finds somebody.
Facilitator.
Yeah, he's really like the connector on the West Coast and even on the East Coast.
He's a master networker and master connector.
That man is an ally to the DJ community.
Yeah,
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Shout out to him.
We were just talking about a laundry list of haters that we've had to deal with.
What?
Throughout the years. Him and I.
In your career.
In our career.
Yeah.
And then but then it's like, but then there's Phenom. Like he's the best. Like just like good. The anti-hater, like the opposite of a hater.
Man.
Like whatever you need, if I can do it, he's going to do it for you.
Even beyond like when he connected those initial dots for us, he shepherded it through, because it's like getting run up the chain and, they're probably having a debate of whether it's a good idea. And he stayed on that process until it got to the finish line,
That's good shit.
And he has no vested interest in
he
in
gets
the show.
nothing from
It's just two guys that wanted to do a mix show on the Yacht Rock channel. He's like, yeah, it's a good idea. We should do that.
Now, the Yacht Rock channel has been around for a while. The name is kind of recent. And I think that a lot of the controversy behind the genre is because of where it kind of like originated from. It was like they were paying tribute, but it was kind of in a kitschy, type of parody way to a certain degree.
I think that's what we were talking about earlier. I think some of these guys who are serious musicians but also consider themselves serious musicians to suddenly be stuck in this box, maybe they feel like their work's being discredited, their life's work's being discredited because kitschy, for lack of a better term, like Donald Fagen, like we talked about. When Steely Dan was recording those records, they brought in the best studio musicians that even existed at the time, and sometimes even cycled through them. Like, no, that guy didn't do it good enough. No, that guy didn't do it good enough. Imagine like the best athletes. Like you've got the dream team, but then you're cycling them out too because like this one's not pulling his weight. So if you watch like the recording process, they would like get guitar solos for one song from like 5 people.
The greats.
Yeah, and they're all amazing.
Yeah.
And choose one. So I can understand him, at the end of that HBO documentary, he's not into it, let's just say, right? And I understand. I totally get it.
But then you have like the Michael Madonnas that's all with it.
He embraces it.
He embraces it.
Yeah.
They made fun of him or SCTV. Even in his prime.
Right.
It was like just kind of like, oh, wow, this guy's on this record. He's on this record. But it just seems like it's not so much opposition. It's only a little bit. But the Yacht Rock name, maybe is that really why?
I don't think they get into it a whole lot in that Yacht Rock documentary, which is like pretty much other than this BBC thing I saw from a few years ago. I don't think they go down that rabbit hole too much, but they talk to like.
It's also possible that, like a group like Steely Dan gets put on a shelf with a group like Hall & Oates, which for all intents and purposes is a pop group, and now Steely Dan is like, well, we don't do what they do. Like, we do this other thing. So
Right.
how are you going to put us
Right.
next to each other on the shelf? That's crazy.
Right. And we did so much to try to put ourselves in
Yeah,
our
like
own thing.
yeah. So maybe it's that. Your main man from Oasis, Liam Renault, I don't remember which one. He was recanting a story of he meets this guy at a party, and the guy's like, I'm a bass player in a band, and I'm a huge fan of yours, and I make music also, and da da da. And the guy from Oasis is like, well, what band are you in? He's like, oh, I'm in Maroon 5.
Oh, wow.
And he was like, Maroon 5? Like, we don't do the same fucking thing. Like, what are you talking about?
Wow.
Like, what? I influenced you? Are you out of your mind? Like, what do you? So it might be something like that.
Wow.
And then as the story continues, the guy from Oasis was at an after party at someone's house, and he was there all night long, and he sees the guy from Maroon 5. He's like, what the fuck are you doing here?
Wow.
And the guy from Maroon 5 is like, oh, it's my house. And he's like, it's a really nice house that you got here. It's a funny clip. Like, it's a really funny clip.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a really funny clip. Because he's shitting on the guy, and then he's like, oh, well, this is a really wonderful house that you have here. It was good stuff. But I think that's what it is. I think, like, guys that predating the Yacht Rock brand,
the term,
they were getting grouped in with other bands that were not similar, but now they're similar because of this thing that started early 2000s. I think. When did the term?
Yeah, so this Yacht Rock series that was online, I don't think it was even on YouTube. I don't even know if YouTube existed when it first dropped. We would watch it. They're funny. They're like comedians. This guy, Hollywood Steve, would host it. You can look him up on YouTube now, and like they choose these what you would call like the Yacht Rock classics, like What a Fool Believes. I think that's episode 1. Mm-hmm. And they have these actors playing Michael McDonald and Kenny Loggins and Messina and Hall & Oates.
And they act out the song or whatever.
Yeah,
and like how the song came about.
How the song came
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that's where the term came from.
Well, they came out with that, one of them with a hat,
Yeah.
the captain hat or whatever.
Yeah, it's like Marina Del Rey Steves, right? You know what I mean? So that is kind of went from there. Like there's multiple episodes of multiple songs where they delve into it, and I think that's where the terminology comes from. And again, like it's applied after the fact.
Right.
So like Boz Scaggs is making these hit records like Lowdown or JoJo in the 70s, and then suddenly it's not a rock song anymore. It's a yacht rock song. Someone says like, no, it's something else now. And to your point, like maybe, shaded with something that he doesn't want it to be, right? Like kitschy or whatever, Who knows?
Are you guys looking forward to doing any events or doing any type of like live gigs where you guys?
That would be kind of hot.
There's a bunch of bands that are yacht rock cover bands, and the shows are huge.
Yeah.
There's Yacht Rock Review and Yachtly Crew and Yachty by Nature and the Docksiders.
This is real?
Yes.
Real?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like all over the country?
These
like
guys
they
have
tour?
like residencies in Vegas.
Okay. Really?
Yeah, or they sell out like
Like real concerts.
Yeah, real concerts, because those bands will do all the hits that the crowd wants to hear that they'll never get to hear
From the
in
real
real
band, the
life
actual
with those real
And
bands.
together.
And together.
And
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
So I'd seen Yacht Rock Review a long time ago, let's say 12 years ago, out the House of Blues. I don't even think there's any House of Blues left, are there?
No.
I don't
I don't
know.
know. Maybe in Chicago.
Oh, yeah, no, there is. In
Maybe
Vegas?
Chicago.
Oh yeah, so this is the one in
Vegas, in Mandalay Bay,
So I went to the
right?
one.
Yeah, yeah.
This is one in Hollywood, which is not there. And they called up Al Stewart. Did You're the Cat? That's another yacht rock classic. Like the dude came up and performed with the band, and then the dudes from Player came up and did
Wow,
Baby
that's a
Come
good
Back with the band.
That's a good one.
Yeah, and so no, I can imagine that maybe Al Stewart's not going to sell out House of Blues But if he gets up and does the song that the crowd wants to hear,
Right.
crowd's stoked, right? Because they got to see Year of the Cat live. So there's a total audience for it, and they're selling out huge venues.
So these cover bands, is there like a festival or some shit that they do or no?
You mean the Catalina wine mixer?
Votes and O's.
I don't know, man.
The motherfucking Catalina wine mixer.
To answer your question, we got hired last summer to do a couple Yacht Rock things.
Once the first episode aired, we got hit up by multiple people. Like, we want to do an event.
So we did some Yacht Rock things. I'm sure we'll be doing events this summer. We're going to be doing events with Sirius, promoting the show.
And you did it like in the Bronx, Compton, right?
Yeah, we did Bronx, Compton,
Relax.
Detroit,
Houston, Texas.
We were at the Apollo Theater.
Fifth Ward.
I live by the swab.
I'm trying to think. Is there a particular like city that like is the heartbeat of
anything close to the water is naturally gonna.
But the Yacht Rock transcends that. It's supposed to take you to that vibe, right? So you can be landlocked and still, tap into that Marina Del Rey lifestyle, that vibe,
Yo, Yacht Rock, like the craziest shit is they have some of the illest instrumentation.
Oh,
and
yeah,
it's like it would be perfect if it just started a trend of some remake hip hop or like some shit so crazy.
Did we mention this earlier? Like Pharrell did a record last summer that dropped called Black Yacht Rock, and it didn't get the traction that it should have because it's an interesting concept, but it's also Pharrell doing yacht rock, right? He's not trying to like make a yacht rock song. I don't think he's trying to bring Pharrell to it, right? And then Gwen Stefani's got this new record coming out, and in the interview she says, "I listened to a lot of yacht rock writing this record. It's having a moment."
It is.
I think people are tapping into the idea of like just having great musicians and like really interesting songwriting that maybe we haven't seen in the recent past. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, for sure.
Don't you think you have to have the instruments for that type of stuff? Like the technology kind of matching the sound?
I mean, yeah, because I think sound cards now you can kind of replicate most of the stuff they were doing and much easier. But I feel like you could tap into making. But remember there was a guy on Instagram that was like turning like popular songs into yacht rock versions, right? I don't know what this guy's name was. Yeah. So you can be done. It's these elements that exist that we're associating with those songs, and then they're foisting it on a different avenue. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This shit is like, yo, this is exciting, man. It's like the perfect time too. Like everything seems like it's aligning for this kind of like, I don't know, like mix show activation, with SiriusXM and you guys, and with the HBO documentary. It seems like everything's aligning for this, and it sounds amazing with that lineup that y'all motherfuckers have.
People want that lavish lifestyle. If only Robin Leach had lived to see what's happening.
So, like outside of this SiriusXM Club Yacht Rock show, mix show that you guys are launching, I know that you're steadily working in LA. You're like,
yes,
you have residencies in Bungalow, right?
Yes.
How many bungalows are there in California or in LA?
Santa Monica, which is like my home base.
Yeah.
There's Long Beach. There's Huntington Beach. There is up north in the Bay Area in Tiburon.
Yeah.
So, that's Brent Boldhouse and Jen Rosero. That's their brand. And we got, amazing lineup of DJs working there. And the vibe there's, like a house party, a little bit of everything, like multi-genre, just finding that connective tissue, cohesion between the genres, something for everybody.
It's how long have you had this residency at Bungalow?
I started working there like the year before COVID, doing like industry night, and then coming out of COVID when everything reopened, they brought me in. Now, you know me. You know that like I had been on the road for like 15 years prior to COVID.
I was going to mention this. Like,
okay,
out of all the DJs that I've known, And I got to credit you guys because, like, you know, I came from New York, and when I moved to Las Vegas around 2005, at the end of 2005, you know, Stone, Graham, you know, Five, Vice, Obi-Wan, you guys were like the first collective, a group of DJs that created an agency, just off of the fact that they were some of the most some of the most in demand DJs on the West Coast. So much that they were getting bookings outside of LA and Las Vegas. And it was like you never saw like a crew of DJs like actually banding together and like
other than like turntablists.
Yeah,
Right.
I think it was the first time.
like club DJs.
Yeah, I think it was the first time that
club
DJs joined forces, and the idea that we had was power in numbers. We're stronger as a unit, and all pushing the same brand. Rather than individual.
So like all like the Scam Artists, you know, 4AM, Deckstar, like all of these like agencies that you see, they would have never existed without these. They were like the first club DJ agency that kind of.
I don't know if I would say that myself out of my mouth, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, I've never seen it. I've never seen that where I was like a whole crew just like banded together. And it was kind of like a way to like control the rates and make sure that it was like staying up.
Ultimately that was the problem, because the crew, which was called the Abe Froman Showman,
From Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Abe Froman Showman,
the five of us had one booking management group, and then half the guys had another booker, and we, as the Abe Froman Showman, were getting them more money than they were getting from the other guy, and it was causing problems.
So it created like a
little bit of a rift. So there was a line drawn in the sand, and it was like, okay, are you doing this thing with the Abe Froman Showman, or are you going to stick to this, because this is a problem?
Right.
And ultimately, we disband. But from the ashes, the captains of industry rose. So it all ended up working out.
Yeah. I mean, like, so when I moved to Vegas, you know, it was unheard of, like, at the time for, like, the club DJs to be running the circuits, like, that much. Yeah. I mean, like, you know, like, big names like Kid Capri or, like, you know, they're all, like, kind of wanted everywhere, you know, like, probably Scribble, right, is another in demand.
Yeah.
But, you know, in the very beginning on, like, a kind of, like, not local like DJs, but just like kind of more regional DJs.
We were blue collar DJs.
Yeah, blue collar DJs like AM, who was like kind of a blue collar DJ, who's maybe like the biggest blue collar DJ to like blow the fuck up.
Right.
It came from the essence of like that whole crew along with AM and everyone else.
It was really good timing, because there were multiple cities in the United States that wanted whatever was happening in LA, New York, and Vegas brought in, because rather than letting people go take that money to Vegas, to LA, to New York,
imagine
they wanted
like
to keep it in house.
Imagine in a smaller market, and then you're letting the people who live in that market like save up all year for their Vegas trip. Why not just import the whole Vegas experience? You put the velvet rope out, you got the doorman, you bring in a guy who works Las Vegas, the DJ, and you can pick their pocket every week.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So like they were some of the first DJs on the road. And it was like, you know, they were hitting Arizona. They were in Miami. They were doing like all the big, like it was Chicago. And so they were like kind of the faces of like the blue collar working DJs that were on the road that weren't necessarily from an MTV show or from like, you know, a celebrity, you know, like this big celebrity like kind of DJ. But, you know, they opened the door for that. So and then they were so busy. Like Graham, Stone, you guys were so busy. And like Stone was actually, you know, one of the first LA DJs that I even heard of in New York. Like Stone Rock did Lotus. I remember when you did Lotus, it was like the talk. Everyone was like, yo, I couldn't make this. I had to work. But I was like, damn, man, I want to hear how an LA DJ sounds in New York. Because it was just unheard of. Like, you didn't really experience that shit at that time on an open format level. But like, Graham was just like, working all the fucking every time I saw him, this motherfucker was like exhausted. And like
I stayed exhausted for years to a detriment. And circling back, once COVID hit, which I'd never been at home for that amount of time since like 04, right? I started going on the road in 04 when Ivan Kane brought me to Vegas to open 40 Deuce, right? So I was on the road all that time, and COVID hit, and we didn't know how long we were going to be out of commission, right? So first month, I'm like sitting around eating Oreos, like we're going back to work in a month or whatever. And then like so much time started passing that I started to jog every day, right? Like it was just like 18 months down or whatever. So coming out of that, I kind of realized that, you know, there had been years that I flew like 300 days, you know, we're both million milers on American, you know, they send you those little tags when you've flown 1,000,000 miles on the, yeah. No, I mean like plaques, I think it's 10 million from that movie, but like 1 million. Million miler means you flew a million on American. They send you a little
and then when you fly 2 million miles, you get another little plaque.
Yeah, a
little tag, little luggage tag.
I was just kind of like
that airline is like shit right now, but back then it was like a big deal.
We were chasing miles. We were chasing miles.
Yeah. It was just for status,
chasing points.
Status.
You know, because you get these upgrades. I come from a big family, like you know, not middle class, big family. I never thought I'd fly first class in my entire life, and then suddenly I'm up there getting upgraded, you know, getting warmed nuts. I'm waiting for your pause. I'm waiting for your pause. I'm getting warmed nuts and you know,
hot towels,
and they give you a drink in a glass.
Yeah, but those,
you know?
Those are like the days where like you really saw like only like old white men going into first class. So when they see someone like Grand Funk in like tropical Hawaiian shorts and like, I don't know, like a fucking Champion hoodie or like a American Apparel hoodie and
headphones
like,
on it.
and then like a fucking new era like fitted cap, they'd be like first class, and he'd be in line, they'd be like, are you in the right line? This is first class.
Changing of the guards.
Yeah, bring the Sunday around. No, but and the funny thing is, when we started to see, like, I would see another DJ in first class upgraded with
like
me.
Just Blaze or something,
we'd be like,
right?
Well, I mean, I don't know Just Blaze, but yeah, to your point, where I'm like, okay, now we're starting to like, you know, we're starting to populate that front cabin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I remember going to first class and Just Blaze was in front of me, and there was like that white businessman, and he looked at Just Blaze. He's like, this is the first class line. And just like, he just ignored him.
Really?
And I was like, man, this is fucked up. And it was just Blaze.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yo, this is fucked up, man. And then the guy looked at me. He was just like, who are these fucking characters in the first class line?
Wow.
Yeah.
It was,
and that was not that long ago. Wasn't like it was like 82. It was less than 20 years ago.
But yeah, so coming out of COVID, where I kind of like, you know, got to enjoy like a normal life. You wake up, you make coffee, make waffles, you know, you read the paper, you do like a normal thing, versus like I got to get up at the crack to take the first flight out just in case there's something that gets messed up. I can't get to the next gig, you know what I mean? Like the domino effect there. Bungalow offered me the opportunity to kind of just like come in there, and I love working for them. And so yeah, we still do on the road stuff, and I still do private special events, but yeah, you'll find me there weekly because, you know, that's one place that really has the back of the DJs that work for them.
That's dope. How many, because you're working a lot, you're working like what,
I work
like 4 to 5 days a week?
I work on average like at the low end 2, sometimes 5, depends, you know.
Wow, that's dope.
Yeah, you know, who would have thought? Who would have thought?
I think it's like I would have never imagined you, who was like, you were like a fucking on the road rat all the time. And I remember just bumping into you in the airport. I would probably see you more in the airports than I would anywhere else.
Well, once you get a taste of that, like sleeping in your own bed every night, it's hard to hit the road again.
Yeah, man. It is a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah. Anytime someone asks me how I'm doing, I'm like, well, I get to sleep in my own bed every night, so that's good.
No, but you know, we flew out here today and we got reminded of why it sucks, you know? Don't get me started on the pat down that both of us got.
Right.
From TSA.
It's funny because like we go back into like the 2000s and we speak about you guys starting like kind of forming the first agency of like, you know, blue collar DJs.
The grinders.
Yeah. The grunts, right?
Yeah.
And
in the trench.
And you were one of the first DJs to like to start your own kind of agency as well. Like when you banded off on your own.
We did do that. Yeah. We had like a really strong roster of fun DJs. And, you know, there's a lot of reasons why these things implode. You know, there is like there's not one thing to blame. And that industry, especially then, I mean, it's still kind of young. You know, it's not like it's been around 100 years. What I mean by that is like, you know, open format DJs in a bottle club, right? Or doing whatever. This is still really young. I mean, I would say nightlife didn't become an industry. It's like, as an industry, is only like a couple decades old, right? It was always a business. It's always been a business for people going to a place to drink booze and listen to music, congregate. But it becoming an industry, now that is something that's fairly recent,
new,
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, back then, you know, yeah, it was the Wild West still. We're getting our sea legs, to bring it back to the nautical thing. We're getting our sea legs in terms of like, you know, how you do these things, right? So yeah, these things implode for a variety of reasons, and it's all good.
Are you surprised that it's still kind of like semi-prevalent, like even now?
You mean DJing?
No, just the agencies, you know?
I mean, it's a necessity, not for everyone.
Yeah.
Not everyone needs the agent or the manager, whatever you want to call them.
Well, I don't even know if it's like, I think agents or managers are important for DJs. I'm talking about like the agency, like kind of like, you know, at some points and different times in the last 20 years, there were just like more agencies, and it was like, you know, there was a bigger market to just hire a bunch of DJs. I remember I was part of multiple agencies, you know.
Me too.
Yeah.
Us too.
Yeah.
We all floated around.
Yeah.
But it seems like even now, like I look at it sometimes and I'm like, wow, I can't believe this like formula or this structure is still like relevant now.
But
You know?
There's always a new crop of DJs that think, oh, the solution to my problems is getting the agent.
Right.
And
Or being part of this agency.
or being part of the agency.
that kind of like in their head like validates them like making it, or like, you know.
And
Just
then,
at a different time.
Yeah, and then there's the part where people are still hiring DJs. So if you have the up and coming kids that need an agent or think they need an agent, and then you have the agent who's still getting called to book DJs, I mean, the business will go on.
Well, let me ask you a question without mentioning any names.
Yeah.
Because it's not one specific entity. There's, you know, this exists at multiple entities. There was a time where a particular company, and again, was more than one of them, it was the roster strong, right?
Right.
So you're part of a gang, right? For all intents and purposes.
This was the influence of the Abe Furman Showman.
You're part of this gang, and so like the bookers know, like if you're tapping into this, you're going to get something good. It's not a huge risk, right? The bigger the rosters got, the more weak links there were. So like the bookers couldn't trust it as much, and I couldn't tell you how many times I've been a place where, you know, I go in and do the thing, and he's like, "I'll have you back, but I'm not going to bring back X, Y, and Z because I got sold a bill of sale." You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And again, I'm not focused on any one entity. There's multiple entities where this was a symptom.
What you're explaining is that like the agents like didn't necessarily get greedy, but they, you know, they were trying to maximize as much revenue as possible, and they
100%, it's a business.
and they weren't kind of like protecting the quality of DJs that they were bringing in.
And that existed in multiple companies. That's my point. I don't want to focus on anybody in particular.
DM me if you want to focus on anyone in particular.
No, I mean, hey, because we've been in multiple places, and this happened at a lot of different places where it gets bloated, and then suddenly the booker doesn't even know what to do. Right? It's like they're trying to like navigate it the same way and like just get the most bang for the buck.
Right.
So what I was asking you is like, wouldn't you agree that that's what you're talking about? There was a time when the agencies were very important because of this, and now that doesn't exist as much because that's not the focus anymore. You could hire a DJ for any number of reasons. He's got 1 million Instagram followers. He hangs out with this reality star. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of ways to drive traffic to your venue. It depends on what the venue's goal is.
The quality of the DJ.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They get the people in there because this guy brings some shine to it. Great. But a lot of times that same venue has to have a ringer, someone like you or us, to pick up the slack once that like sheen is off of the celebrity, right? And you saw this in Vegas for years. They would do the same thing.
Even the same night.
Yeah, same night. That's what I'm saying. You have someone on standby, you know? Someone on standby to step in when you need the boost. Someone who knows how to read the crowd and work the room, you know?
Yeah. At the time, what was the most important aspect of the agency that did you value? Because for me, it was protection and trust. So like whoever was in that agency or crew, it was like dudes that I trusted. And not only on like a DJ level, like, oh, I can't make this event, like Stone or Graham or Five or any of these motherfuckers could cover that shit. It was like these dudes wouldn't undercut. If like, you know, they're gonna like protect me, I'm gonna protect their fucking venue, I'm gonna protect their residency. If the residency tries to hit me on the side and be like, yo, we want you, but you know, can you do it $500 cheaper? No one in the crew would do that.
Yeah.
But it was also the fact that like, if like these large casinos, right? Because these large casinos, these large residencies, these large venues, they could like kind of like play motherfuckers. And I just knew that I was like, yo, if I'm part of this agency, I'm kind of protected. So that was my main thing, even now to this day. Like the reason why I stay at certain agencies, whether like they're popping or not, is because the main contact person that I'm dealing with, I trust on like on a money level and just on a like, on an everything level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
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 I mean, so our first booking agency was ours that we started. And then we left that. We had a partner who we basically gave her the business, and we left.
She did. Yeah, the admin. Well, she was doing the admin.
Yeah,
So
she was
someone
doing
had to take phone calls, send emails, collect money.
So
create itineraries.
So we left that because we were spending too much time on the agency and the careers of others, rather than spending time on the captains of industry, which is what allowed the agency to even exist. So we left, and our only requirement was we just want the calendar stacked so we can focus on all the shit that we want to do, which will continue to keep the calendar stacked. The next agency didn't really work out. We went to another agency with the same stipulation. All we want is the calendar stacked so we don't have to worry about dates, and then we will give you all of the fuel to keep the fire burning and burning big. And to this day, we still haven't found anyone to solve that issue.
Right.
Not that I want to DJ all the time anymore, but it just never, it's a pretty easy ask. And it just never materialized. So
what gets in the way, in your opinion, of these, you know?
Well, like I said, you know, the rosters get too big, and you know you got to feed everybody. So, you know, it becomes almost impossible to have a stellar month, right? You get a month where like you get to this amount of income, and then they have to move on because there's too many people, right? So you don't get to have the stellar month. Like even if someone requests, you get people coming and requesting you to come DJ, maybe they're gonna offer somebody else because they got to feed the whole, because the rosters get too big.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that got in the way. And again, you know, going back to what I said earlier, I think when you have a giant roster and you're not always sending the best possible person, then like some of these people get buyer's remorse, you know, and makes them a little more cautious.
Yeah.
To like take a chance. And it doesn't matter what you've done before, you know.
also, there's a lot of motherfucking haters that talk a lot of shit, and I'm sure that there's a opinion on what we might or might not be doing, which we've never done anything to the detriment of the party or the venue or the event or whatever the case may be. So I don't know where this stuff comes from. It's got to come from other agents or other DJs or whatever the case may be, which is fine. I mean, I'm doing great.
I'm kind of curious about what's going on in LA right now, because even my brother, you know, he's in the film industry, and you know, I know people who are like storyboard artists. I know people who like, you know, were doing like design, they were doing script writing. There's all kinds of operators and creatives that were involved that I kind of knew in LA. And I was kind of, you know, there's been so much shit going on in LA ever since the pandemic.
The strike.
The strike.
That's crazy.
But also just like kind of like there was like the stall on like restaurants opening. I remember like I loved Swingers, and at one point Swingers closed, and then thankfully it reopened again.
Yeah, I go there almost weekly.
Yeah.
I mean, I support. That's an old school spot.
But it's also like, I was talking to a homie of mine now, and I've been saying this on our Patreon episodes, and they kind of like, everyone that I was speaking to was like, yo, get the fuck out of here. You're crazy. But we're starting to see like all these like studios getting built in Jersey and like
Vegas.
in Vegas.
Yeah, right next door.
Right. And then it's like, there's all these studios getting built outside of LA, Hollywood. And then everyone I know, like there's creatives in LA that haven't worked in like 3 to 5 years, which is insane. And I'm kind of wondering, I said that LA is looking like it's going to turn into like Detroit.
There's a lot of headlines right now with that exact sentiment.
Get
saying,
the fuck out of here.
I'm telling you, like
post automotive industry Detroit is what LA is starting to look like.
California
Post film industry
Right.
exodus.
California took the film industry for granted, and everyone else was like, "Oh, tax breaks." That's why Tyler Perry has that studio in Atlanta.
Right.
That's why they go film in New Zealand or Ireland or wherever they go film, because they get the breaks. And California is like, no. If you're going to film here, it's just going to cost what it's going to cost. And everyone just went elsewhere.
So you have all these studios in LA and Hollywood that aren't being used. So like if the studios aren't being used, there's stagehands, there's cameramen, there's lighting, there's costume,
Catering. I mean,
there's catering,
so many
there's
jobs.
security, there's all these people. So all you're seeing is like, it's just almost like dead real estate that's just sitting. And I think it's only 30 to 40% of the studios are being occupied. And it's like you have these actors and like showrunners in interviews, and they're like, yo, why is it costing me more money to film in LA and Hollywood than it is for me to fly everyone to Canada and film in Canada? And it's like, that's why there's no filming being done in fucking LA or Hollywood.
I mean, not to get political, but I think these politicians in California got their head up their ass and don't know, they're focusing on the wrong thing. Yeah. And they're affecting everything down the line, nightclubs included.
Right.
Even the wildfires, that must be bad too.
Well, imagine this. So like, first off, you've got, a lot of displaced people at this point, right? From January till now, like those are people that lost homes and they have to find somewhere else to live. Maybe they're not spending the way they used to, right? But, taking it a step further, a place like the Palisades, you have an entire economy gone. Like any worker that worked at the grocery stores up there, a nanny, gardeners, people who work in shops, that's gone. Like Palisades is gone. Like my parents' house was in the Palisades. Their house burned down.
I'm sorry, man.
It's all good. It's been months now. But and again, they're one of many. So it's hard to be like me. It's not because it's collective, right? But my point is, that was an entire neighborhood where you had people who didn't live up there that went to work up there, and now there's nothing that's gone. Yeah. Dog walkers, whatever it is, like that's gone. So there's a huge chunk of money missing now, right? That was a lot in the economy initially, and now has like been yanked out. So you feel the effects of it all over town. People a little more hesitant to, go out and, I mean, not everybody, trust me, but they're being a little more thrifty for the time being,
Don't you think it's going to be like a little resurgence, being that they're, building for the Olympics and all that other stuff that's coming up?
I don't know.
Well, the Olympic thing, it's going to be so spread out that I don't know how much infrastructure investment they're going to be dealing with, because you're going to have events in Lake Arrowhead that's an hour and a half, 2 hours away.
Yeah, but they're saying they're building like trains and stuff like that.
I mean,
to connect everything. They did it in Vegas. With the
we'll
stadium
see.
And stuff.
They got 4 years.
Vegas doesn't have 10 million people in their county. in their county, like LA's is jammed up, and I don't think it's not designed to like kind of just foist new civil engineering in there. So yeah, they're building trains, like they're running the Purple Line that will run you down to the beach. There's a bunch of like metro trains and stuff, but We'll see. We'll see if anybody even wants to come to LA for the Olympics. I don't even know. I don't feel the vibe of like we're looking forward to this in the way that when I was a kid, when the '84 Olympics were coming, like that seemed hype to me.
Right.
This kind of seemed like, what a in position.
Sheesh.
That's how the vibe I get from people in LA. They're not looking forward to, waves of people coming in,
like a
and it's
nuisance.
not ready to accommodate.
I'll be leaving for the Olympics.
Wow.
So if anyone wants to rent my house during the Olympics, slide into my DMs.
It's interesting because Graham, you were born and raised in LA.
Yeah.
Stone, you spent a large portion of
Yeah.
your life in LA.
Yep.
Have you ever seen anything like this happen to,
No, I think it's just the perfect storm. I think it's the way that the city's been run, the state's been run.
Right.
The change of like people aren't interested in going to nightclubs anymore, right? There was
But it's crazy because there's like nightclubs opening, like Zouk LA just opened.
well,
I think-
Zouk was another nightclub that they just rewrapped,
Right.
and turned it into.
It was Avenue, right? It was One Oak?
No, it was.
One is now Keys.
Okay,
no,
okay.
Lexington. No, not Lexington. It was.
I don't even know where Zouk is.
It's area. It's the old area.
Oh, it's on La Cienega. It's it's area, Prey, the Gate. If you want to go
Okay.
back,
But it was
moving
like
back.
two things after area, and now it's Zouk.
It was Greystone.
It was Greystone.
Oh, that was
Greystone.
Greystone?
Yeah, it was Greystone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
If that's, I mean, if this is the location we're talking
And
about.
but then Keys is it's a pretty new club, Keys, right? That's like
it
a
was,
year ago?
It was.
maybe?
It was a.
In the 80s, it was Old Man Gazzari's, like during the
Yeah.
like hair metal days. If you watch like Decline of Western Civilization Part 2, the metal years, Old Man Gazzari's in it, having like wet t-shirt contests. Then it became Billboard Live. And then it became Key Club.
Key Club.
Then it became One Oak.
One Oak, right.
And now it's back to being Keys. So that's just like
But it's been shut down for 5 years or something.
It's a legacy venue. It's on the Sunset Strip. You know what I mean? It's never gonna. They're not gonna tear it down. Well, I shouldn't say that 'cause they're tearing down the Viper Room. But like,
They're tearing on the Viper Room?
yeah, they're putting up a mixed-use condominium building.
Damn. Wow.
So
I mean, they tore down House of Blues for the hotel.
Yeah, they put a hotel there.
I mean, it seems like nightlife, like on paper, it looks like, well, there's clubs opening. So like there has to be a scene bubbling or building there.
Yeah.
But you're saying it's just not the same.
It's not the same if you like watch Entourage and like there was something to do every single night,
Yeah.
and there's like multiple nightclubs popping off,
Yeah.
like going here Monday, going here Tuesday, going here Wednesday, going here Thursday. You know, we used to fly in and out of LA during that stretch because we would work those nightclubs, right?
Yeah, like seeing like TMZ, like Lindsay Lohan couldn't get in or some shit like that, right?
Yeah, so like that era is, I mean, it's dormant now. Maybe it's gone forever. I don't know. Maybe it comes back. I mean, because it was fun. But there's a lot more things at play here versus back then, right? Like social media didn't exist in 2002 or 3 or 4 when there was like a hot nightclub every single night of the week to go to, and you didn't have to go to the same nightclub any particular day of the week. You can go to, there was like 7 places to go, you know what I mean, that would be popping off. But a lot of things, bottle service changed a lot of that. Social media changed a lot of that. Having a camera on your phone changed a lot of that. So you got people who don't want to be spotted doing whatever they're doing. You know, in 2002, you could be a celebrity and go into a club and just do your thing and not get sweated. Good luck now, you know what I mean?
Mystique of going to a spot and not.
Mystique. That's right.
Yeah.
So there've been a couple cool clubs in LA that have a no phone policy, and you will see the people you like that you would enjoy seeing in the spot because they know that it's a safe space. You know what I mean?
It's funny because like in New York, there's an emergence of members only clubs, and I was asking like some of the motherfuckers, I'm like, why are these members only clubs opening? And they were like, we can't be exclusive at the door anymore. We can't tell motherfuckers at the door, like, yo, you can't come in.
Yeah.
Or like, yo, you're not attractive enough to come in.
Because they get sued, or
because it's just like it's like an inclusive time.
It ends
like,
up on a Yelp review, like it becomes a internal issue.
And then it like, comments on whatever venue's Instagram page is like, yo, they're racist, or they're fat shaming, or blah, 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 blah.
or you're just ugly as fuck and you can't get into the night. Like,
but you can't do that no more. So these members only clubs are emerging.
Yeah.
And because you can easily say like, are you a member? and be like, no, you're not a member, well, you can't join. And then they can kind of control who gets in and who doesn't get in.
It has to be a referral.
Is it like a
right?
nightclub or is it like Soho House situation?
No, it's just like a restaurant or a venue.
Okay.
The members only like criteria is literally to just
Know someone.
no, it's just to like
weed out.
control.
Oh, yeah, okay,
It's just to
yeah.
control who the fuck is coming in and coming out.
Yeah. I
you
mean,
know?
look, that is one of the things that, in my opinion, impacted nightlife negatively, was not being able to hold a door properly, and that was because of bottle service. Because previous to bottle service, before bottle service became a thing, you'd go to the door and the guy or girl would be like, nah, you can't come in. I don't know you. You dressed whack. You look whack. You're with a bunch of dudes. Whatever the reason is, it doesn't matter. Once the idea of bottle service came around, the door person would say, you can't get in for a number of reasons. But then the bottle hostess would be like, but if you spend $2,000,
Right.
we'll put you front and center.
Right.
So now, and not to sound like an elitist snob, but now the quality of the experience inside the nightclub was diminished.
And space becomes real estate now.
Space becomes real estate that you can buy, as opposed to earning it, whether it's your relationships
Cachet,
or whatever it is.
because you're cool.
So whatever was happening inside the nightclubs that made those nightclubs in demand went away, just because they wanted to make an extra 2, 3, 5, 10 grand. Which, this is when it becomes an industry. This is when we start making thousands of dollars a night, sleeping in my own bed in LA. Like, I was making good money before I started traveling because of bottle service. So while it was a curse, it was also a blessing.
But also the door was to make sure that these rich kind of like dorky, uncool motherfuckers couldn't get in.
Yeah.
Like money wasn't enough. Like, you just had to be a part of the culture, or you had to be cool, or you had to be part of the circles that were creative. And they were like protecting those rooms to have it be with like creatives and cools and unique.
Yeah.
And it was like almost the misfits could all gather around. And then the music was like ahead of its time, the fashion, everything kind of like came together. But when it became about money, it just destroyed everything.
Money fucks everything
Right.
up.
Of course.
When you're focused on money, you don't make any good decisions. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Building houses, DJing nightclubs, owning a restaurant, it does not matter. As soon as your decisions are based on how much money can I make or how much money do I need, you're done. Like, just close your doors, you're done.
What do you guys see LA becoming without Hollywood? Because I was talking to like a homie, and they're like, what the fuck's gonna happen to LA with Hollywood? And I'm like, yo, LA still has like an incredible food scene. They got incredible weather. They got hiking. They got all this shit. It's just gonna become like a dope city with dope weather and dope fucking food. And
Someone's gonna
shit, right?
someone's gonna come in and they're gonna grab the state by the horns and just right the ship.
Is Hollywood, in your opinion, salvageable?
Yeah, I think so.
It is.
I mean, look,
I don't think so.
There's
You don't
still
think so?
there's
That'd be
still
bad.
there's still crazy allure. Hollywood, Los Angeles.
Hey, what if a
Beverly
scandal?
Hills.
What if a scandal breaks? And the new news is that Hollywood's been fucked up for years.
Yeah.
It all leaks out.
Yeah.
Then what?
You mean like a pedo ring or something like that?
Everything that's
Yeah.
bad you can think of. Next 6 months comes out and it's like, Hollywood's kind of full of shit because this person, and I found out about this person, and the law goes away.
The hot girl in Kansas City or Butler, Missouri, still fantasizes about being in LA.
All right, what about New York? They can just go to New York.
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
We got beaches, we got weather,
Right.
we got Hollywood, we got Beverly Hills, we got celebrities.
That's valid.
You know what I mean? Like,
Valid.
but I think a similar thing is happening to New York, where it's not how it used to be.
Oh, totally not.
Right? So, how is it working out here? I think it's going to end up being fine. you know?
Honestly, it only takes one like huge billionaire company to take over all the studios and just like reinvigorate it and revamp it to something more accessible to what like young creatives want to do.
Yo,
like YouTube could literally buy like some of the studios and make it like open house. All our top YouTubers have now studio access and all this shit. It could turn into whatever it can, because there's so many influencers anyway. Like LA is becoming more of an influencer city than
who's
it
not
is with Hollywood.
influenced?
Yeah.
This guy.
I mean, that's a horrible thing to imagine.
Yeah.
A city full of influencers, but
But it's already getting that stigma.
That's going
Yeah.
to fuel constant interest and people
Right.
wanting to come.
And it's
but-
going to be even crazier when like these influencers have access to all these timeless old, historic Hollywood studios, and it's like, now we're running this shit. Now we're
Isn't
running
Paramount
these
shutting
studios.
down? Like, aren't they shuttering?
Paramount's shutting down. Maybe Fox is shutting down.
Yeah, I mean, it's someone's gonna come in and they're gonna right the ship,
Right.
and it'll be fine again. Like people
are gonna watch content. Like, and when I say content, I hate to apply content to film and TV, which I revere. Right.
Right.
But people are always going to want to watch a TV show and always going to want to watch a movie. That's never going to go away.
Well, what if you have all that space or all those studios and it just turn into fucking housing? What happens then?
I mean, that wouldn't be a bad thing either.
You live in the New York street.
I wouldn't like that.
You wouldn't like that?
I wouldn't like that.
The property value's going to go down, brother.
Yes, I wouldn't like that. No, I think look, the reality is who makes TV shows? Who's a
Netflix?
like a big showrunner.
Netflix.
Ryan
Murphy.
Ryan Murphy.
Ryan Murphy, I assure you, wants to sleep in his gigantic mansion in Brentwood or Beverly Hills or wherever he lives every single night while he's making whatever show he's making. So whatever they need to do to keep the industry in LA so that they don't have to go to Toronto, Vancouver, Ireland, Atlanta, wherever the fuck they got to go to film their shows, they're going to do that. So it will come back because Ryan Murphy does not want to live in Ireland or Vancouver or any of these fucking
Maybe
places.
he does.
Nah. So that is another part of why I believe it will come back eventually. It needs to make sense. Like to Graham's point, it costs too much money to make stuff in LA. But the industry will come back, and then when it comes back, it'll fuel. It'll fuel the restaurants. It'll fuel the nightclubs. It'll fuel everything.
You've seen it in different states where, the motor industry, like you said, in Detroit.
Yeah.
Stuff leaves, steel in Pittsburgh and
But
Indiana. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you go to Detroit now, it's actually like it's popping right now. Like Detroit, like after like the motor industry moved out and it collapsed, like the community had to come together. There's like all these like urban farms. Like they really came together to rebuild that city. So when you go to Detroit now, you're like, holy shit, this is a completely different city. It's like flourishing now.
It's hard to compare Detroit and Pittsburgh to Los Angeles.
Yeah, but
Southern California.
Los Angeles is already a dream.
It's
a dream.
I mean, like the weather.
Yeah, the weather's
like,
good.
Even like the fresh produce, like
even just the allure of
Right.
Los Angeles and Hollywood. Like people, I can't tell you how many people are like, "Yo, the Hollywood sign's in your backyard." Like people from out of town, the Hollywood sign's in your backyard. This is crazy. I was like, yeah, I mean, I guess it's right. It's right there. I don't care because it's right there. But even just the Hollywood sign is like the craziest thing to even imagine. Like, oh, I can't believe you get to look at that thing.
Yeah, meanwhile, when we were walking here, we passed by that giant bull statue I've never seen in my entire life. So we were getting jazzed, you know.
Wall Street,
Wall Street Bull.
We were like, hey, there's that giant bull.
Yeah.
Yo, Stone Rock, Grand Funky, thanks so much for coming through.
Yeah, man, thanks for having us and let us talk about Club Yacht Rock.
Yes.
Coming out this coming weekend this weekend.
This Memorial Day weekend.
Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
Looking forward to, man. That shit's
it's going to be on every week. Well, you better start thinking about what you're going to play in your mix.
Yeah, I think so.
That'd be dope. Yeah. That'd be dope. He's been like, he's been like flexing on his Blue-Eyed Soul craze.
Yeah, man.
Yo, the captains of industry, thank y'all so much.
Thanks,
man.
man.
If you want to watch more episodes from R.O.A.D Podcast, click either links on the left or the right. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page and get updated on new uploads throughout the week. Peace.